What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? Hey, hey, hey. I believe I am live. We are actually going live tonight from sunny Santa Monica. I'm in a hotel room, so I'm not sure if this is, I hope the Wi-Fi is strong enough to actually work here. Let's see if this is working. Can you guys hear me okay? If you guys could hear me okay and it's not grainy or blurry, please let me know in the comments, because I'm on the hotel Wi-Fi and it's definitely not as fast as it is at home. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great day, and it is a pleasure to be with y'all. We got some people jumping in here. So again, guys, if you can hear me, and it's working okay, go ahead and comment in the group, please, or comment in the comments and let me know you guys can hear me. My man. Okay. Jace, appreciate you, bro. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me okay, guys? I am in a hotel in Santa Monica, California, trying to get back to California, and just want to make sure the Wi-Fi signal is strong enough to go live in the group here. So hope you guys are doing great. Working good. Okay, sounds good. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, until I hear otherwise, I'm just going to keep going. How you guys all doing tonight? Hear me good? Hear it loud and clear? Okay. Awesome. Kurt, appreciate you. Austin, my man. Appreciate you, brother. My man, today in the house. So, guys, this handsome young fella with the new Facebook profile pic has officially joined our team. I made a soft announcement of that last live that I did, but I think, you know, if you guys have been in the group for any length of time, you guys will know. You will know today, and how awesome he is, and what a great guy he is, and how much value he provides to the group. And so he has joined us. I love this. He has joined our team. Best hair in the house, no doubt about it. Arun, if you click on Grand StreamYard Access, we'll be able to see your name. So anyway, guys, so today is just somebody that has been definitely an instrumental, guy in the group who's provided a ton of value and just been really awesome to chat with. And we actually did a call one-on-one, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and just really good dude. And so he is on our team now, helping with the Facebook group and just trying to help serve you guys, and continue really doing what he's been doing this whole time, and really just help you guys have a better understanding of Adegen, how to use the products, how to help and serve. And he's been doing a great job. So he's officially on our team, which I'm super grateful for and super thankful for. And he messaged me earlier just to let you guys know how much the character of today, and how much he cares about you guys, and how invested he is in this stuff. He's in Slovenia, which is, I think, 6 hours difference. 6 hours difference East Coast time, and 9 hours different than California time that I'm on. So he messaged me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm going to bed, but I'm going to set my alarm and wake up for the live training." So I told him, "Dude, that's not necessary. I appreciate you, but dude, it's definitely not necessary." But here he is, setting an alarm, waking up in the middle of the night so he can join the live training and be involved to serve you guys. So today, I appreciate you, and dude, super grateful for you, and actually just sent out a package to you today, my man, or it is getting packaged as we speak. So what's going on, guys? So good to see you guys. Today is a legend. I love this. So y'all, I hope you guys are doing great. Ben Kershaw in the house. This is Mr. Kershaw. Ben, my man, good to see you, brother. I hope you are doing well. So guys, Max, I appreciate you, man. Dude, I got a little haircut. I got a little haircut before I came out to California, keeping it kind of tight and keeping it kind of short, and I'm digging it, man. So I appreciate you noticing, my man. If there's anybody that doesn't want to lose their hair, it's this guy. So I hope you're doing well, man. How are things going with you? So yeah, guys, it's been a pretty busy week. Glad you guys can hear me okay. So I flew out to, everyone that's been in the group for a while knows I used to live in LA, and then with COVID, I got stuck in Florida during quarantine, and then we had some issues with a 3PL that we were using for shipping, and we had to ship all of our products to somewhere with a lot of storage. And I'm from Ohio, so I've been in Ohio running the business, and I've been in Ohio for the last 6 months. It was my first Ohio winter, Midwest winter in 20 years. I graduated high school in 2001, which is I'm embarrassed to admit. But so I haven't been in the cold weather since in a winter for the entire wintertime since 20 years, and it's been really tough. It's been really, really brutal. I don't know if you can really see, but I've been out here, and I've been trying to get some sun, and I actually got a little bit burnt. So I've been trying to get as much vitamin D out here as possible, but it is really, really good to be back in California. I miss this place and miss all my friends out here in the community. Actually went for a sunrise hike yesterday. I was talking to my team, and went for a sunrise hike yesterday, and with just some amazing people. A small group of people out here, a lot of other entrepreneurs and people doing really cool stuff in the world. And we were all just talking about how important the team is, and the purpose of creating and serving and creating value for others as far as your business is concerned. And so it really it's pretty special. I think your environment impacts us more than we realize. So I'm super grateful to be back out here. I'm going to be back and forth. So I'll be back and forth between California and Ohio. We're working on some really cool stuff. And I'll be talking to more about that soon. But so yeah, I'm out in California here, staying in Santa Monica, where I used to live, and looking for an apartment. And so things are good. Came out here for we're looking at some new packaging with one of the world premier companies that deals with some of the best packaging suppliers in the world. So we're going to be creating some completely custom new molds, and looking at also some new delivery mechanisms for the topical solution, and but new bottles, new design, and just constantly pushing the envelope forward. So really excited about that. And COVID is kind of lifting up here. It seems like a little bit, things are opening up a little bit more. We've had some members in our community that have had some family members pass away from COVID. So I reached out to that individual, personally. And so this COVID, guys, it's scary, and our thoughts and prayers are with you guys, with everyone. And so I'm trying to stay safe, and yeah, it's a very, very, very interesting and delicate time. But so guys, how's everybody doing? What's going on with the hair? How's hair growth going? I'm feeling pretty good about mine. It's thick and healthy and feeling good. I've been using the Topical 5 quite a bit lately. Just always kind of switching up and using all of our using all the different formulas. The 15X, the 5, the 15, all good stuff. We're going to talk more about that here in a little bit. Angela, so nice of you to join us. Great to see you. So yeah, guys, so tonight, like I said, I've been traveling quite a bit. Stay bound to the follicle as a shampoo. Just seeing some questions come through here. Okay, so guys, let me get started here tonight. It's so we are going to do the live training the first Thursday of every month. So the first Thursday of every month, I'm going to come on live. My goal is to come on and be in the group a lot more often than that, but we are going to do officially the training every Thursday at this time, I think. We got a question here, Darnell asking about any word on the new shampoo brush design. Darnell, my man, I'm glad you asked, bro. it's something that I cannot tell you how excited I am and how anxious I am to get these new brushes in. No idea, man. And so I've been actually testing some different material and some different polyethylene and different plastics and really getting that dialed in. So, but the new brushes, I'm going to actually reach out to them next week, the mold manufacturer, but I think they're close to being done at the mold manufacturer. And then once that happens, we're going to do some test shots, just make sure everything came out properly and everything is, the finest details is good. And then that will then get shipped to our injection molding company that we use. And then we're going to do a large run, several hundred or several thousand to get a big run going. So I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait for those to come. So dude, as soon as I get more design or more updates on that, but the mold, the last time I talked to them was about a week ago, and they said it was about 80% done. So we should be really close to being complete. And I expect that to be done this month for sure. So as soon as I get updates, man, you guys will all know right away. And yeah, guys, I cannot tell you how excited I am for that brush to come. Let's see. I'm going to move here so I can see. I've been using, let's see here. I've been using for about 6 months now. My hair is great, but starting to hurt a bit when I brush in the shower. Okay, so this is something I'm going to comment later on in the training as well. And I reached out to somebody. Somebody sent me a message talking about their scalp was irritated because, and they were brushing 3 to 4 times a day. So guys, and somebody else questioned about, can you brush too much? So you can definitely overdo it, guys. And that's why I talk about finding your rhythm. I'm going to create more videos very specifically, one video really focusing on each product. So the shampoo with the brush, really go really, really deep into the training and instructions for just that particular product and the brush and how that works and how to do it and what not to do, and really create new training videos for that. And then one for the topical, one for the roller. But if specifically, I'm trying to see who. Okay, so Noah. No, I can't see your name here just because of the software that I'm using here called StreamYard. But it says that your hair is great, but starting to hurt a bit when I brush in the shower. So what that tells me, man, is you just have to take it, back off a little bit. A little sensitivity is okay. I talk about that in the brushing, but you can see you can kind of see how my scalp, I actually showered a little while ago. It's a little bit red here ever so slightly. And that's okay because I really, really brushed and brushed aggressively with the brushes. But you can definitely overdo it. So if your scalp is hurting, if it's hurting or painful, then you're doing too much. So the first thing I would do with that is back off of the brushing and the rolling, stop brushing and stop rolling, and give it 2 to 3 days for your scalp to just return to baseline. Or you could even take a week off of the brushing and rolling and make sure that your scalp gets back to baseline. And then you can continue to use the shampoo and the topical, but then really ease back into it with the brushing. But most likely what you're doing here is you're just brushing too hard or too long or too often. So a little sensitivity is fine, but you are most likely doing too much brushing. Okay, so very good question though. Gina, this is Gina. Welcome. So glad to see you. All right, guys, I am going to share my screen here so we can see what is going on. And we're going to get into some of the questions here. So hopefully that worked okay. But this is a legal disclaimer that I have to read just to CYA, but it says the following is designed to entertain and inform, not provide medical advice. I'm not a doctor. You should always consult your doctor when it comes to your personal health or before starting any treatment. So that is a disclaimer, guys. I hope you feel disclaimed. And this is probably definitely some really good advice, I would say, and I think really helpful. But legally speaking, we have to protect ourselves. And so yeah. So interestingly enough, I am starting off the presentation or the slides with with this, and fitting to be in California. MedMen, I'm not sure if anyone has heard of MedMen, but it's a company that started out here in Venice. I love Venice, California. And actually I have a lot of really good friends that live in Venice, and I'm actually checking out some places over there apartment wise. But MedMen is basically the Apple. It's like the Apple of marijuana, or marijuana. So I grew up in a really small town in southern Ohio, and grew up on a farm. My grandparents were World War II refugees, and grew up in a really, really small town. And basically was told that if you smoke marijuana or do drugs, that you're going to go to hell. And that was basically the end of the conversation. So not much education around marijuana or drugs in general. And very, very kind of limited mindset around it, but that's what it was. And now being in California, it's like, California, Colorado, now it's super popular, even in Florida, with medical marijuana licenses, and in California and Colorado, it's completely recreational. So that's not the point of this, but what I want to share with you guys, I saw this post. Somebody posted this in I'm Facebook friends with this gentleman. His name's Trey Llewellyn, super cool guy. And I really have a lot of respect for him. He's a brilliant business guy. And I just saw him posted this in the group. And I thought it was fitting to start with. And I'll read what he posted, but he said, medical marijuana. 20 years ago in grade school, I distinctly remember watching a short film about how marijuana is where joints come from. The more you smoke, the more you need to get high. It's the gateway drug. If you smoke weed, you became a drug addict. This was DARE 101. Now, the gateway drug has now become the natural cure-all. It's not made in a lab. It's a plant. It's safer than drinking liquor. This is an extremely amazing case study to show the power of mass marketing. What you've been told the last 10 years was all a lie. Even though we had studies that show that it was the gateway drug, we now have new studies that show its amazing capabilities. But no one questions it. Since it's on radio and TV, it must be true. As a marketer, I enjoy watching how such a bad thing 20 years ago is now all a really good thing. The best part is nothing changed about weed. It stayed 100% the same. What changed? The marketing around the campaign changed. And I was just like, man, that is so, so true and so brilliant, and also so scary, because I see this is exactly what happens in the hair loss industry and in all industries, to be honest. But this really kind of struck a nerve with me, because it's scary, because we as humans are impressionable, and and it's really hard to find the truth, because we get our information from a lot of information from online, and not just online, but billboards, but all the information that we consume. Everybody has an agenda, and especially in the hair loss industry, the companies, I've gotten messages before like, hey, Adegen, how come we haven't heard of you before? And a lot of people are hearing of us now, like our Google search is going crazy. But, the companies that you see bombarding your Facebook newsfeed, and, all the advertising on TV, and the laser helmets, and, all these different products, and some of these big billion-dollar companies, Hims, Keeps, and Roman, and all these companies, guys, they are just the big, big media, big marketing companies. And it used to be the laser. They had a red laser wand, and now it's the laser helmet. And it's just so scary, because it's hard to know who to trust. It's hard to know who to believe. It's hard to know what is true, what's not true. We have people, which is insane and incredible at the same time to me. One gentleman, I forget his name, Kevin, I think his name is. I've never even met the guy, never heard of him. He's never used our products, but he made a YouTube video basically saying that, Adegen is a scam and this and that. And unfortunately, I'm sure some of his people believe him. And he created very polarizing content, to get views, and he must have seen Adegen tracking up in the Google search, and he's like, well, how can we make content around this to get views? So very selfishly focused, and also being in this industry. And I think part of the reason, I mean, the main reason why I started Adegen was because I tried all of these other hair loss products, and I've seen, I was one of those people that was taken advantage of by so many different companies and people, because what I've realized is, unfortunately, these big companies, especially companies that have taken venture capital money and investment money, guys, they are under the gun to produce revenue and to please shareholders and to make a profit. And I assure you, unfortunately, the majority of them are not doing what is the best interest for the consumer. Now, some companies are, absolutely, and those are the great companies that I respect. And there are a lot of good companies out there. But in this industry, what I've seen, and I've also seen firsthand, because now I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me asking if they can, distribute and be a distributor for Adegen, if they can carry our products, if they can put them in their office, if they can, basically sell Adegen to make money. And I've also had companies reach out to us that they're like, hey, you can, carry our products, and these are how much, these are our revenues, and these are our profits, and this and that, basically saying, focusing all on, the financial opportunity rather than actually what's pleasing the customer. And I actually had a really big call with a very large pharmaceutical group, and they were kind of pitching me on the same thing. And I said, guys, my goal is to not, like, it would be much easier for me, and this is the God's honest truth, it would be much easier for me to change some of the formulas, and change the quality of the formulas, and just run advertising just like all these other companies do, like Hims, Keeps, and Roman, which is selling nothing more than 5% generic off-patent minoxidil and finasteride, and make a ton of money. But we are trying to really do the right thing and serve you guys and make a difference, and actually focus on the quality of the products and trying to make a difference and an impact. And honestly, I think that's why Adegen is being so successful, and it's growing like crazy. So anyway, guys, I just thought that was super interesting, and it just goes to speak to the power of mass marketing. So guys, don't take my word for it. Like, I really encourage you, you have to think for yourself. You have to do your own research. You have to be very skeptical of everything. And so I encourage you to be extremely skeptical of everything that we discuss here. And, I'm trying to be as open and transparent as possible. And that's why we have a Facebook group that, anyway. So this is a question we get all the time, guys. And I wanted to create a slide around this, and a short video talking about where should I start. We get a lot of people that are new coming to Adegen, and now that we have more products and we have more formulas, and we have the 5S, we have the 15, the 15S, and the 15X, as well as the shampoo and the brush. We get a lot of questions. Hey, where should I start? So a very good question, and I recommend that everyone starts with the kit one. The foundation of everything is really how these products work together. The shampoo plus the brush, what that does is it helps the brush. When you use the shampoo, the brushing exfoliates the dead skin and dandruff and sebum that are clogging the pores, and it also helps open up the epidermis to allow the topical solution and the ingredients of the shampoo to penetrate through the epidermis to get to the hair follicle. And the ingredients in the 5, either the 5 or the 5S, the 5 has retin A, and the 5S has retinol, which is a more sensitive, not quite as strong as abrasive ingredient. But they do this thing called, it creates cell turnover, and that it expedites the process of the epidermis creating new skin cells. And by doing so, it sheds the outer layer of the skin, and it brings new life and area to the area where it's being applied. But those ingredients also help deliver the active ingredients in the topical solution and the ARB through the epidermis to the hair follicle. And the reason why I recommend starting with kit number 1, which is the shampoo, 2 brushes, and the topical 5 or the 5S, you get to choose on the website. Here, I showed you a picture of what it looks like. Is because for for a very high percentage of the population, this is all that you guys need. It's less expensive than the 15. And we've had just tremendous success with so many people in the group using these products. And I think this is the best place for people. It's a really good entry point, and it's the best place that I would recommend people starting with out of the gate. And I would recommend that you start with kit number 1 and use the topical solution for 90 days. And again, I can give you the best products that I guarantee you stop hair loss. But if you don't use them consistently and the way that I show you exactly how to do it, you're not going to have the results. So you have to be extremely consistent. But with that being said, I recommend that you start with this for 90 days. In 90 days, the reason why I say 90 days is because our name Adegen is inspired by the anagen, which is the growth phase of the hair cycle. And for you to see results, the growth phase, for you to see new hair forming, it takes on average 90 to 100 days for that new hair bulb to form and to start growing out of the hair follicle. So 90 to 100 days on average is the early phase of the anagen cycle. And that's why 90 to 100 days is so important. But that is literally just the very beginning, the tip of the iceberg, where you should start to begin to see results. So this is what I would recommend for most people to start with. I say here that men should most likely start with the 5 and women should start with the 5S. And the reason why I say that, you can swap that. Women can start with the 5 and men can start with the 5S if they wanted to. The reason why I say the difference between the 5 and the 5S is the 5 has retin A, which is a percentage. It's a stronger ingredient than the 5S has retinol. And those are the ingredients, like I said, that create cell turnover, but also help it helps drive the ingredients. It helps permeability of the ingredients through the epidermis to get to the hair follicle. And men typically shower or shampoo more often than women. And I shampoo, if I'm traveling, sometimes, it'll be every other day if I miss a shower, if I'm working, whatever. But I usually shower every morning and use the brush, and then I use the topical afterwards. So I usually shampoo and shower and use the brush every day. But if some women, like my mom herself, uses the 5S, which is a sensitive scalp version. But for women, they typically don't shower as often because it takes their hair, it takes women more time. I can't speak for women, but from what I've seen, it takes them usually longer to get ready. So their hair, with their hair being longer, most commonly, they don't shampoo as often. And if you were to apply the topical solution 5, 2 or 3 days in a row without washing it out and without using the brushes, that's cell turnover, which is, like I said, it's creating new growth in that area. But it's cell turnover is basically creating dead skin and flaking. So, and that's why the whole system works so well together, and that's why it's all designed. Everything is designed to work well together. There's synergistic benefits to using all these things together. So that's why the brushing with the shampoo works so well in combination with the shampoo, and why we created these kits. And basically everything that I've created here and is offering to you guys is the products that I've created for myself that I found over the last 20 years to be, what's reversed and stopped my own hair loss, and it's helped now thousands of other people. So that's the difference between the 5 and the 5S. Now I get questions: can women start with the 5 right away? And absolutely they can. The 5 is more effective than the 5S. It is more effective. The 5 is incredibly effective. The 5S is extremely effective as well. So yes, women can start with the 5, but I want you to know that, as a woman, if you're not going to shower or shampoo, you may have some dryness and some flaking, and that may be something that you won't like. The 5S, and the other reason why I recommend women using the 5S is for women, they have a lot lower androgen levels, and hair loss is so much easier for women to stop and reverse than men. So even though the 5S is not quite as strong as the 5, it's still plenty strong for women to have amazing results. So that's why I recommend men start with the 5, women start with the 5S. Use this for 90 days, and then I am very, very confident you will see results. But after 90 days, then we can reevaluate and see if you want to jump up to the 15 or, but very, very much more than likely, I guarantee that this is strong enough to stop your hair loss, and you will see new growth coming. And that is also what makes Adegen so effective is we've kind of looked at hair loss from a different way. It's all about follicular, like hair follicle health. So they call it follicular regeneration, which is a fancy word for basically just saying we're helping the hair follicle get healthy, normal function so it can do what it's designed to do, which is grow healthy hair. So if you focus on the hair follicle, the hair will take care of itself. So guys, again, this is where I would start. I hope that answers some questions. If you guys have any other questions around this, no problem to answer, or no problem to shoot us a message. But this is where I would start, kit number 1, and I recommend that to almost everybody that I talk to. Okay, so this is something that we launched recently, and we're actually almost sold out of it. We have to make another batch of it here soon because it's been selling really, really well, and it's a lot of people have been buying it. I think everybody's been excited about trying it, and everybody that I have talked to personally or that sent us a message, the feedback has been incredible. So I have been using this as well. But with the 15X is our extra strength 15 topical solution. So basically, and going back to the previous slide, hearing, seeing so many amazing results now. We have 6,000 people in the Facebook group. We have, thousands and thousands of customers. We've shipped to over 100 countries now. So we've seen so much data. We have so much data. We've seen so many results, and we have so many data points. We saw so many amazing results with the 5. Honestly, I've been using the 15 for years. I've been using the 15 solution for years, but I saw so many incredible results with the 5. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. I formulated the 5 with the Retin A versus the retinol, which is in the regular 15. But I saw so many incredible results with the regular 5 that I was like, wow, I wanted to create a 15 that also incorporated the Retin A over the retinol. And then we also increase the caffeine ingredients, the ARB, and some of the other percentage of the active ingredients as well. So it's basically the 15 on steroids. So we have maximized the capability of active ingredients in the 15. We've added Retin A, and it is a really powerful solution. And you can search the group, and you can see people that have commented on it about it being powerful and strong, and it definitely is. And so the 15 is, again, the regular 15 and the 15S, which is a sensitive scalp, have retinol. The 15X, which is the extra strength, has Retin A. And it's so effective that, and it is also, having the Retin A, and it can cause the Retin A compared to the retinol in the same percentage. The Retin A is about 100 times stronger. So it can cause, your scalp will be a little bit more sensitive than the retinol. So if you're using the roller and you're using the formula, a lot of guys, you guys know, everybody that's used kit number 2 and the 5, the roller, I don't make light of it. It's definitely an acquired taste, and it can be painful and sensitive a little bit. You do, I think, get more used to it, and it doesn't bother me at all now. But I used to roll till I would bleed, which is not necessary. But when you're using the 15X and the roller, your scalp can be very sensitive. And honestly, because the 15 is so strong and so effective, and now that it has Retin A, and the Retin A does something very similar to the roller, which helps the permeability and the delivery of the active ingredients. So I honestly don't think it's necessary to use the roller with the 15X. So that's a pretty big statement. I know, I'm sure we'll get a lot of questions on this because, the roller is one of our very popular products, and it's in kit number 2 and kit number 3. So you can absolutely use the roller with the 15X. And yes, you will get an additional benefit by using the roller before you apply the 15X, but I'm very confident to say that I don't think it's necessary to use the roller before you apply the 15X. So The good news is, if the roller is something that you absolutely hate, and it, you don't like you think it's too painful, and again, I honestly don't think most people really even need the roller, and that's why kit number 1 doesn't have the roller. I think most people can have great results without using the roller. I think the majority of people can have great results, 100% stop hair loss, and have a lot of regrowth with just kit number 1 using the 5. But the roller really comes in, and the roller creates micropores, micro channels in the scalp, because our skin is just like leather, that, alligator leather, that for our bodies to protect us from exterior elements. So when you roll the roller on the scalp, it creates, micro punctures, micro channels in the scalp, or in the scalp, to allow the solution and the ingredients to pass through the epidermis to get to the hair follicle where it needs to go. And it also triggers the body's natural healing mechanism, which is increasing blood flow. So, just like when you twist your ankle, or if you have an injury, your ankle will swell up with blood, and it gets swollen. And that's the body's natural healing mechanism to protect and heal that area. Well, the same thing happens on a smaller level with the roller. It creates micro trauma to the area, and the body naturally sends healing agents to that, and oxygen and nutrients. But the Retin-A does something very similar, which it doesn't trigger the body's natural healing mechanism, but it helps the active ingredients, and it helps the solution be much more absorbed and permeable through the epidermis of the hair follicle. So all that to say, guys, I've talked to people that have used this. Siri has actually been using the 15X. I sent a few bottles to some of our long-term members before we came out with this, and we tested it, over and over and over. I wanted to make sure everything was perfect before we launched it, and the feedback, like I said, has been incredible. And Siri, who you guys all know, is one of our amazing members, and somebody that's a foundational an OG of the group, so to speak. He's somebody that has become a friend as well. But he's been using the 15X and has had incredible regrowth on some of the stubborn areas that haven't filled in around the crown. So he's a big fan. And so it is available as well as the 15XS. But I just wanted to kind of preface that if someone does not like the roller, if you don't like the roller, the 15X is extremely strong and effective, and the roller is not necessary, in my opinion. Will it help? Yes, it will help, but it's not necessary. Okay, so this is a question I saw a couple times in the group come up, talking about Telogen effluvium. And so this is, for those of you that don't know, it seems like it's most common in women. And from all the posts that I saw, everyone that was asking about it was a woman. And so it's a reversible condition in which your hair falls out after a stressful experience. So that's the definition of it. And I'll get more into this, but it's typically triggered after a stressful event or pregnancy, or I've heard of some people having it after getting COVID, or a vaccine, or some type of traumatic event. That's typically what happens. But what it basically is it triggers the hair follicle to go into the resting phase. So like I said, the anagen is what inspired our name Adegen, which is the growth phase. But there's a resting phase as well, and that's what's happening with this, with this particular Telogen effluvium. It's basically that the hair follicle stays in the resting phase. And so it was, somebody asked, or some of these are some of the questions: how long does it last? And can it be cured? And most generally, it is completely cured without really needing to do anything. But it takes on average 3 to 6 months. And sorry about that. And ironically, that is also, like I said earlier, the growth phase is 90 to 100 days. So that's why. But and also, we all lose around 100 hairs per day on average. Even the healthiest people with thick, full heads of hair still shed 100 hairs a day, as the hair follicles transitions from the growth phase to the resting phase to the shedding phase. So So, but with the effluvium, you can see a lot higher shed, so that it can come out a lot faster. And if you look online and do some research about asking for treatment of this, you'll see that there's quote unquote no cures for it, but that you can. They recommend 5% minoxidil, L-lysine, low-level laser therapy, PRP, vitamins, and biotin. And basically, what that tells me is nobody knows what they're talking about, and they don't really have an effective solution for this. So, just like anything else, fibrosis or frontal fibrosis or telogen effluvium. What's happening is, again, hair loss really comes down to one thing and one thing only, which is adequate, sufficient blood supply to the hair follicle, because that's how the hair follicle gets its nutrients. So is it okay? Is it safe to use Adegen and minoxidil, which is an ingredient in the topical solution during telogen effluvium? Absolutely. But I think more importantly is if you take care of your hair follicle, and again, that's what the whole Adegen concept is. It's really just it's optimizing your hair's health. That's really it's super. I mean, it's actually really simple, and hair loss is actually much simpler and easier to stop and treat and reverse than most people believe. And the reason why that is because there's a lot of barriers to entry for new innovation and technology to get to the market because of the FDA regulations regarding the term hair loss and unfortunately big pharmaceuticals with it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So I get into that in the book. You can read about that more in the book, but stopping hair loss and reversing hair loss is actually very, very simple and very easy. And that is exactly what we have focused on with Adegen and providing it to you guys. But it's all focusing on the health of the hair follicle. So is it safe to use Adegen during telogen effluvium? Absolutely. But like I said, more importantly, I think if you stay consistent with this and give it 90 to 100 days using Adegen, you will definitely see a benefit, and you will see healthier hair follicles. So I hope that answers the question. I saw that a couple times last week. Arthur asked, if you were washing your hair twice per day, would you follow a different routine? So this is a good question. I typically only shower once a day, unless I have like a special event or something that I'm going to. And I recommend, what I do. And actually, what I have been doing lately is, if you're not going to be going out that day, if you shampoo and brush in the morning, I recommend applying the topical solution as soon as you can right afterwards, because it allows for a longer contact time during the day. Now, some people don't like doing that, and we've also recommended, applying the topical solution before bed if you don't want the topical solution in your hair during the day, which is fine. But I think it is more effective, and I do recommend people that are asking for the next steps of, trying to maximize efficacy of the topical solution. I think the best thing you could do is shampoo in the morning, use the SM brush, really do that well, exactly like the protocol that I explained. And then once you get out of the shower, dry your hair, dry your scalp, and apply the topical solution right afterwards while the scalp is clean and dry and has just been exfoliated with the brush. Now, with that being said, if you don't want the topical solution in your hair during the day, which is, I understand if you're going out and especially with the 15, it can make your hair a little sticky. The 5 is honestly, the 5 I feel like makes my hair thicker, and it almost makes my hair look better because it makes my hair look really full. And it's almost like a styling agent. But to answer your question, Arthur, if you are going to wash your hair twice a day, I definitely would not recommend applying the solution until the second time that you wash your hair, because you want the goal, guys, the reason why I say to leave the shampoo on 5 to 10 minutes is the longer amount of contact time, the better. Like I said, the epidermis is designed to keep ingredients from entering our body. So it takes time for these ingredients to penetrate the epidermis to get to the hair follicle. And the longer amount of contact time, the more effective that absorption will be. So if you are going to wash your hair twice a day, I definitely recommend, wash your hair in the morning and then wash your hair in the evening, or that second time. And I would also recommend that second time that you wash your hair, your second washing, is the washing that you would use the SM brushes primarily the most. So, if you use the SM brushes twice a day, each time when you shampoo or shower, no problem. I brush, on average, I usually brush probably once or twice a day. But if brushing twice a day with the shampoo makes your skin too sensitive or you're brushing too hard, I would focus the SM brushing on the second shampoo. And then I would dry my hair, dry my scalp, and apply the topical solution right after your second shower. So super basic, super simple. And that's strictly to allow yourself to have the topical solution on for the longest amount of time, which is, overnight in this case. But if you guys are willing, or if you're looking for the most effective way to apply and use the system, I would recommend shampooing and showering in the morning with the brushes, and then use the topical solution. And if you're going to use the roller, but use the roller and the topical solution right after on a dry hair scalp in the morning. And that way you have the entire day and the entire night for the topical solution to penetrate and take effect. So hope that answers that question. All right. So Michael, I haven't gone over the wins since the last time, guys, because honestly, there's so many. I just didn't have time, and I want to make sure that I do proper diligence and celebrate these wins. So I'm going to do that in a separate live, which is just win after win after win. But there's so many of them since that last training. We'd be on here for a couple hours, and I didn't have the time tonight. And I want to make sure, again, like we celebrate properly, and I give credit where credit's due, and highlight you guys. But Michael posted his pictures and his progress, and it was so good that people were calling it a scam and that it wasn't real, and that his before picture was an after picture. So it's very interesting. But suffice it to say, he's had really good results, and he is now trying the 15. And he said, I've been using the 15X for the last few days, and it is no joke. I'm not sure that I will ever use the derma roller. Okay, perfect. I'm not sure if I will ever use the derma roller with that solution, because even dry brushing prior to the application, it stings so much I can barely stand it. On the flip side, after 2 days, my entire scalp is flaked off a layer of skin. There's something very satisfying with deep stinging, burning, and renewal of the skin that is happening to my overall thinning scalp. I've been shedding a little more than normal but have had almost zero shedding, nothing close to the amount of hair which was prior to using Adegen. Looking forward to seeing the new results of the solution. So yeah, Michael, so great point. And this is again one of the perfect examples of, dude, you don't have to use the roller. And I honestly don't think I would recommend using the roller with the topical 15, especially not for the first month, because that first month, or especially the first 2 weeks, your skin, your scalp will be more sensitive. And especially if you're going from the 15 to the 15X, because the 15 is a very gentle solution to the scalp because it has retinol. And the 15 is more gentle than the 5 is for the scalp. But that's why, we've had, and that brings up the question, what's more effective, the 5 or the 15? And to be honest with you, to be completely honest with you, I really don't know. I can't say conclusively, because we've seen so many people have unbelievable results with the 5. Like sometimes I was like, wow, I think the 5 is actually more effective than the 15, the regular 15, because like we've seen incredible results. But then I've also seen, people that have used the 5 and then switched from the 5 to the 15 and have had better results with the 15. So I would say they're very, very equal. And so that's, I would say the 5 and the 15 are very equal as far as the results. And if you try the 5, you can, go back and forth, but that's why I say start with the 5 or the 5S at the beginning and give it 90 days, because more than likely that's going to be all that you need. But this is another great point here about the 15X, which is, it is the most powerful topical solution in the game. There's literally no other topical solution on the planet that is that effective or strong. But it's definitely not one that I would start with out of the gate. I would start with the 5. So Mark asked, hey guys, how long do you spend or recommend rolling, and how long brushing? So Mark, I'm going to make sure that Christian or today we comment here and post the instructions to the group, or instructions to the standard protocol. But this is something that is, that you will have to find your own rhythm for, because you can't overdo it with the brushing. And I show you exactly how I brush with the, in the video. But what I do is I put the shampoo in and I brush until I feel like my scalp has really been exfoliated and really, really, what's a good word for it? Exfoliated, but also stimulated. Like I want my scalp to feel stimulated. And now that I've been doing this for so long, I just know, I can just tell when I brushed enough. But what I would do if someone is getting started is I would brush until you see your scalp become a little bit red. Now, no bleeding, no cutting or scabbing or scraping or anything like that. You shouldn't see, but you could see a little bit of redness. That's okay. You want to feel a little bit of sensitivity. You want to feel a little bit of sensitivity when you brush, but it also, you should not brush too much that you cannot continue brushing the following day, or that you see any bleeding or scabbing or anything like that. So, and also, again, the new brushes are going to be even better for avoiding these things, because, man, we've done so much testing on the density and the surface contact of the brushing of the new brushes in the contact area. But with the current brushes, you don't need to brush. I recommend aggressive brushing. And I think some people have taken that out of context and gone too hard. So, brush, but I think it's better to brush more strokes than just pushing so hard that you're really, really, really pushing hard with the brushes. Brush more strokes than just super hard. But you'll know when your scalp feels clean and exfoliated. And if you can't tell when you're getting started, do it until you see a little bit of redness. But I think around 20 to 25 strokes is kind of like a sweet spot per area. And then as far as the rolling, I recommend about 10 rolls per area. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can roll forwards, backwards. You can go this way, that way. Mike asked, great question, Mike. Mike, my man. Mike McAllister is a good friend and is in Austin, Texas, man. I'm seeing that barbecue stuff coming. So yes, he asked, would you recommend brushing every other day? And absolutely. If your scalp gets too sensitive, I recommend brushing every time that you use the shampoo, because that helps. The shampoo is designed also to exfoliate the scalp, and the ingredients, everything works together. So I brush every time that I shampoo. But if your scalp gets too sensitive, you can absolutely brush every other day. And if your scalp does get too sensitive, the first thing to do is to back off of the brushing and back off the rolling. And I would back off of the rolling. The first thing I would do if your scalp gets too sensitive is back off of the rolling and stop rolling, and then back off on the brushing. And then, give it a couple days, 2 to 3 days of just using the shampoo. And then, you can bring back into the brushing and just don't go too hard. And then after you get, you find your rhythm and your scalp is okay with that, then you can reincorporate the rolling as well. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Pablo asked, just a real quick, I'm placing my first order now for the kit number 2. Should I just go with the normal 5 or straight to go with the 15X? I saw this video. John shows how to apply, but I can't find it again. All right, Pablo, we'll make sure that we get you posted with the right video to that. And we're also, guys, we're going to do a lot better job on the video tutorials, and we got a lot of things that we're trying to do. It's just been super busy, and we're trying our best to keep up. We actually sold out of rollers, and those we'll have new ones in. It should be tomorrow or the day after, but we've been having a hard time just keeping up with our current demand. But to answer your question, Pablo, as far as kit number 2, if you're going to start with kit number 2, kit number 2 is basically, the full offering of what we have. It's a shampoo, the brush, a roller, and a topical solution, and you get to choose what topical solution to go with. So if you're just getting started, kit number 2 is designed for advanced hair loss. It's, like I said, most people, and you've seen people in the group, like Mahmood comes to mind. If you guys look up Mahmood, his progress, he's used kit number 1 the entire time. the shampoo, the brush, and the topical 5. That is like a very strong foundation. And he had very advanced hair loss, and he was just very consistent, and he used them the way that I describe in the training and the protocol, and he's had unbelievable results. So the roller is not necessary, but it is the reason why we have it in kit number 2, and what kit number 2 offers as well is opens with the 15 and then the 15X and the 15S is it's for more advanced hair loss. But if you're just getting started and this is your first order, I would definitely start with the topical solution number 5. Okay. And like everybody, can you start with the 15? Yes, you can start with the 15. But I would not start with the 15X right out of the gate. It's definitely not necessary. It's the most expensive formula. And it would be better to start with, again, I would recommend the 5 and give that 90 days and then reevaluate. I have people that ask, well, if I'm getting the kit number 2, I'd like to get the 15. Can I start with the 15? Yes. The 15, like I just explained earlier, I would say the 5 and the 15 are equally effective. Some people have better results with the 5. Some people have better results with the 15. But the 15 is much more sensitive than the 5 because of the retinol versus retin A. So we made the 5 as strong as possible, but I love the 5. Like like I said, I've used the 15 for years and years, but the 5 is incredible as well. So I would, but to answer this particular question, I would not start with the 15X, and I would start with the 5. Matt Jones, my man, asked, should I be using Saw Palmetto in conjunction with Adegen? I'm trying to cut my rigorous supplement routine. And Christopher said, good question. I used it for 6 months with no results before Adegen, and then it cut out. But so Matt, again, I think what's the most important thing is to understand, the strategy and what makes Adegen so effective, and also the cause of hair loss. So hair loss is caused by a blood flow restriction to the hair follicle. It's a disease. Hair loss is a disease, absolutely, just like cardiovascular diseases to the heart. And cardiovascular disease is caused by a blood flow restriction through the heart arteries to the heart muscle. And as the heart's pounding and beating, the muscles need oxygen and nutrients to function. Same thing with the hair follicle. So Saw Palmetto and these other DHT blockers, I would categorize Saw Palmetto and it's actually not a DHT blocker. It's it's a 5-alpha reductase, because these things are they're trying to block the conversion of testosterone to DHT. But the problem with this, with Saw Palmetto or with finasteride or with dutasteride, is that by trying to reduce DHT, first of all, DHT is a healthy hormone that our bodies need to function properly, and it's a very important hormone. But taking Saw Palmetto and trying to reduce DHT, first of all, it's not really effective because you're not lowering DHT low enough to have a really good result with hair loss. And if you did, by taking a prescription like finasteride or dutasteride and taking a high level of finasteride or dutasteride to effectively lower DHT to stop hair loss, the side effects are terrible. So, I mean, really, really terrible. And effectively, you're basically castrating yourself of a hormone that is healthy, that our bodies need. So I do not recommend Saw Palmetto. There are some gentlemen that have had, and again, these ingredients are for enlarged prostate. So if you have, an enlarged prostate and you're having problem urinating, some of these ingredients can be effective for helping that problem by making the prostate smaller and shrinking the prostate. But they are not effective when it comes to hair loss. And the problem with supplements, dude, and I've tried I've taken more supplements. And I'm a believer. I still take quite a bit of supplements, and I think supplements are very good. But I think it's very important to be really effective with your supplement strategy, and not to just take supplements to take supplements. I think you have to you should definitely have your blood tested. You should look and see what you're deficient in, and not just take supplements to take supplements. But as far as Saw Palmetto, I don't think it's effective. I've tried it for years myself and kept losing my hair. So I don't think Saw Palmetto is effective. I don't recommend it. And it's certainly not necessary to have great results with hair loss. And you don't need it with it combined with the Adegen protocol. So hopefully that answers the question. All right. Saman asks, waiting for my product to arrive. I just watched the protocol video from John. I've been taking cold showers for over a year, as that has also helped my eczema. Watching the protocol video, John mentioned warm water with a shampoo. As much as I love hot waters, I know they are not good for my skin. I'm not sure what to do here. Okay, so Saman, the reason, okay, and Lindsay just actually asked, so I'm going to go back to this. Lindsay asked, what about biotin? Okay, so let me talk about some of the other supplements as well. And Lindsay, that's a really good question. So, like I just said, the reason why we lose our hair comes down to a blood flow restriction to the hair follicle, right? And if you've seen the first slide that I talked about the power of mass marketing, how basically we can be convinced and manipulated to buy all kinds of stuff that we don't need, and especially in the hair loss industry. That is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and hair loss supplements. I'm actually rewriting the book. I'm rewriting a new book that's going to be called Hair Loss is History, and really going into a chapter specifically on supplements and answering this question. But the problem with supplements and hair loss is you are not, Lindsay, the reason why your hair is thinning or you're losing your hair has nothing to do with not getting enough biotin, or which is vitamin B, I think that's vitamin B3. It's either B3 or B7. Sometimes I get niacin and those confused. But yeah, I think biotin is B7. But it has nothing to do with you not getting enough biotin. And you can take supplements, like all these supplements that you see advertised, and I've tried pretty much all of them when I was losing my hair, and ineffectively. But the reason why is it's not that you're not getting enough nutrients. It's that those nutrients aren't getting to your hair follicle. So you can take supplement after supplement and until you're blue in the face. But it's that those ingredients and those nutrients aren't getting through the blood supply, which is the vehicle is your arteries to the hair follicle. So because you have a blood flow restriction, which is carrying all those nutrients and oxygen and vitamins and minerals to the hair follicle, you can continue taking them. But if you don't solve the problem that's restricting those nutrients getting to the hair follicle in the first place, it doesn't matter how many supplements you take. So I do not, that's why I could easily sell a hair loss supplement. I don't even sell niacin, through Adegen, which I think niacin, there's some definite benefits to overall health. But as far as hair loss supplements, I am very opposed to hair loss supplements because they are absolutely not necessary. So these big brands, Nutrafol, Avivascal, and all these things, I think they're great marketers, and they've sold a lot of products, and hopefully they've helped some people. But in my opinion, it's not that you're not getting enough nutrients and minerals and vitamins in your regular standard diet. It's that those minerals and vitamins and oxygen are not getting through to your hair follicle because of your hair follicle is being restricted by its blood flow. Hence, the reason why Adegen is so effective is it restores that blood flow restriction safely without lowering or affecting hormones. So, Lindsay, let me know if that answers your question. If not, I'm happy to go more in depth, but just let me know. Okay, so back to Suman's question asking about taking cold showers and eczema. Suman, the reason why I recommend taking warm showers is strictly because of the law of thermodynamics, and it helps kind of soften the epidermis and opens up the epidermis, and it helps when you use the shampoo and the brushing because that cell turnover created by the topical solutions, we want to remove that. We want to exfoliate. Awesome, Lindsay. We want to exfoliate the scalp and the dead skin in the epidermis. So by first kind of saturating and soaking your hair, your scalp, really has nothing to do with the hair. Everything has to do with the hair follicle. I don't even care about the hair. It's all has to do with the hair follicle. So by soaking and kind of warming up your scalp with warm water and then applying the shampoo and brushing with the SM brushes, that warm water helps kind of exfoliate, or it helps more easily exfoliate that dead skin because of the thermodynamics. So that's why I recommend the warm showers. Now it doesn't have to be hot. It doesn't have to be hot. And you can definitely take a cold shower afterwards. But eczema, if warm, like if you're, I don't imagine you're taking strictly cold showers the entire time. So even warm water, it doesn't need to be hot. So if hot water bothers you, the goal, it doesn't have to be burning or scalding hot or anything like that. And just lukewarm water is all you really need. And then you can finish with a cold shower afterwards. But will it work just with cold water? If worst case scenario, if you just use cold water, absolutely, it's not a big deal. But the warm water helps soften and open up the epidermis. And we have, the other reason I know this is true and effective is because we have people that if you just brush with dry, if you just aggressively scalp brush on dry scalp without the shampoo or warm water or going through that process, it is more aggravating to exfoliate the scalp. So that's why the shampoo, which also helps soften up the epidermis and remove that cell turnover, everything in the shampoo is designed for a very specific purpose. So hopefully that answers your question, man. All right. I think that is all we had for the slides tonight, guys. Let me go back here. Cool. Let me see here. So we got, so Jason's talking about fill up the sink with warm water so you don't need to shower at the same time. I don't shower and shampoo. I wear mine at work. Nice. All right. Keith, my man, Keith says, sorry I'm late, but you made it. Keith, I'm glad you're here, brother. Hope you are doing well. Let me see here. Exactly. So, Darnell, this gets back to, I think, what you're talking about, vitamins and minerals as far as supplements and hair loss. So that's a perfect example of, why supplements and, the reason why we lose our hair in, unless you're in like a, third world country and aren't getting, adequate nutrients. There's people that eat terribly and have a full head of hair. Or that even are on a, calorie deficit diet that have great hair. It does not have anything to do with, we get plenty of vitamins and minerals through just a very average diet to have healthy hair. And honestly, I forget exactly what it was. I had a slide. I think 65% of our body, or 65 to 68% of our entire body, is made up of oxygen. And so oxygen is an extremely important part of everything. That's what, obviously we breathe it, but it's also it's a very important part of what the vitamins and minerals that we get through our blood supply. So, that is, you definitely don't need more biotin, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So I'm looking up here, guys, I'm just kind of going through any of the questions. Any other questions that you guys have that I can, Randy, what's going on, brother? Just saw this, man. I hope you are doing well. Great to see you, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's see. What is going on, guys? Any other questions? Kurt says, can I buy the Topical 5 solution by the gallon? By the gallon or half gallon? Sorry, I just had a call come in here. We don't offer that right now. It may be something to consider. I thought about maybe doing that for the shampoo, offering like a big gallon of shampoo. But yeah, dude, I mean, to be completely honest, man, we are doing everything we can just to keep up with what we're doing. We have a lot of ideas for innovation and things that we want to do. And even more products as far as like packaging, is like new custom packaging but right now, dude, we just launched the 15S, the 15X. The brushes are underway, and dude, we are at max capacity. But I like the idea, and we may do something like that in the future. Let's see here. So Nell asked, is there not a risk of pericardial effusion when rolling and applying the topical right away? Pericardial effusion. So, dude, pericardial, what I I used to work for Medtronic, and I did a lot of hearts, but pericardial is the sac around the heart, I believe. So, but dude, this is certainly not a question to ask me, bro. That is a question you should definitely ask your doctor, my man. But I've been using the roller and the solution with thousands of other people for a long time, and we haven't had any of that. But sorry, couldn't answer that question more in depth, but that is certainly a medical question that you'll have to talk to your doctor about. Darnell asked, will you eventually create a conditioner or leave-in conditioner? What conditioner do you recommend? Great question, man. And yes, I'm actually testing. We're in test right now with a conditioning agent. And it's not going to be just a conditioner. It's we are working on something that it's still in the works. I don't want to talk about it too much, but yes, we are working on something that will be a conditioner-like agent that hopefully will also help with hair loss. But nioxin, if you want my true opinion, I think nioxin is BS. I'm not a fan of nioxin as far as for hair loss, as far as effectiveness for hair loss. I know it's not effective for hair loss. I've used it for years, and it did not work. But as far as a conditioner, I actually haven't used it in a long time for conditioner, so it's probably a decent conditioner. There's a company called Ouai, OUAI is a good brand, and Aesop is a good brand. AESOP is a good conditioner. I'm actually staying at a hotel here, and they have that inside of the shower, which is pretty cool. But also the product that I've used as far as a leave-in conditioner is just it's a Miracle 10. It's not very expensive. It's just a spraying conditioner. But the shampoo, the newest version of the shampoo that we've just launched, that if you're using the shampoo, it's the shampoo we're selling now. We've added some conditioning agents to that, and hydrogenated castor oil, which should help, and some other little tweaks that should help with the dryness. But yes, we are working on something like that. We've had a lot of questions, so that will be something that will be out in the future, but it's still probably several months away. All right, let me slide through here the questions. What are your thoughts? Okay, I can't see who the name is here. Let me see if I can see that on my phone. I can't see the name here, so sorry about that. But the question is, what are your thoughts switching back and forth between the solution on different days? So I actually had a call with Christian, who is, you guys know very well, Christian Shakal. He's our Facebook moderator, and he's been doing just an incredible job for you guys, and invest a lot of time and energy into the group. But I had a call with him because he was using the 15, and then we have to ship him products to Venezuela, which is challenging, especially right now. But so we ship him large shipments at a time. So because we actually have to ship it to Mexico, and then that gets forwarded to him. And so I had a call with him. So we've been shipping him, kind of large quantities at a time. And he went from the 15, and then he switched to the 5, and used the 5 for a while. And then we just had a call because he's like, you know what, I think I was having better results with the 15, and wanted to switch back to the 15. So he asked the same question. Do I recommend switching back and forth, and how would I do that? And honestly, I told him, dude, I don't recommend, I wouldn't personally recommend. I would find what solution works best for you, and I would stick with that. With that being said, Paul Monroe, who you guys should know well in the group, he just posted a couple of days ago of his results, which are mind blowing. And he used the 15. And then he used the 15X for a while, but he's also used the 10 and the 5 and mixed them together to create basically a 10. And he said the 10 is a 10. It took me a minute to figure out what he was talking about. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? The 10's a 10. I'm like, I don't get it. And then I read further down, and he was talking about the solutions, mixing the 5 and the 15 together to create a 10% solution. So if you were going to switch back and forth between the solutions, that's what I would do. And the way to do that would be not to, try to fill up the dropper with a little bit of each. You would take 2 bottles, 1 bottle of 5. I would take a brand new bottle. I would take a brand new bottle of 5, a brand new bottle of 15. I'd pour that into a glass beaker. You can get a glass beaker on Amazon for cheap, or even just a small shot glass or something. And I would pour them in there. I'd mix them around with either the dropper or a spoon. And then once they're completely mixed, then I would pour them back into the bottles. And but that's how I would mix those together. But again, as far as switching back and forth, I particularly would find what product I thought was best, what solution, and I would use that. Let's see what other questions we got here. Let's see. Today, appreciate you today answering a question here. You demand. Do you think? Let's see. Okay, so I want to make sure this is very clear. Mohammed, do you think the topical works less than the topical 5? Do you think the topical works less than the topical? You said a few times the 5 works better. Does that mean the 15 is not good? Absolutely not, dude. The 15 is a world-class, it's an unbelievable formula, and it's what I use personally to regrow my hair, and it's what I use for the last 10 years. So no, the 15 is incredible. I said that sometimes I've seen the 5 is incredible as well. So they're both world-class formulas. The 5 is a little bit more aggressive on the scalp because it has retin A. So we use retin A in the 5 to make it extremely powerful. And because the 15 has a higher percentage of all the other ingredients, it doesn't necessarily need retin A. We use retinol, which makes it a less abrasive. It's a little bit more sensitive to the scalp. So I would say they're very equally effective. I think they're both great. I think they will both stop and reverse your hair loss. But I have seen some people do better with the 5, and I've seen some people do better with the 15. But I would recommend starting with the 5. Like I said, I would recommend starting with the 5 for 90 days. But I would say on average, I think probably I've seen better results with the 15, but I've also seen people that have had amazing results with 5. So they're both, it's not like, is not one not good? No, they're both incredible. And I would be more than confident to use either of them myself and be totally fine. But I would start with the 5, give that 90 days, and you should see results 100%. And that's just the beginning. And then you could always progress to the 15 down the road. I hope that answers your question. All right, so this is a question here. Does this work for people that have alopecia lesion? Honestly, I've never even heard of that before, so I apologize. I don't want to give you misinformation or speak on something that I'm not very well versed in. So I can do some research on that for you, but I'm not sure what that is. If it's hair loss related alopecia, I'm gonna take a screenshot of that, and I will do some research, and I'll get back to you. And that was Elizabeth. Let me take a screenshot of my phone so I can get back to you. But again, unless it's an autoimmune issue, hair loss is simply caused by blood flow restriction to the hair follicle. So I will do some research and get back to you, Elizabeth. All right, guys. I think that is, I'm just kind of scrolling through all the questions here. I think I answered them in. Yep. Awesome. Okay. So I was right. Appreciate it. Yeah. Niacin's B3 and biotin's B7. Thank you, Darnell. Appreciate you, man. All right, guys. So, so tonight, I'm not going to go through my routine. I'm actually going to a dinner here in a little while. So I'm not going to go through and put a bunch of topical in my hair. But I wanted to get in front of you guys, wanted to get together. Okay, so it is an autoimmune, and it is an autoimmune disease. So, I think there are definitely benefits, even, Elizabeth, and this is not me trying to sell you on Adegen. And the last thing I would ever want to do is for somebody to use Adegen and not have a benefit or have results. Like I genuinely mean that. We don't need any more business. Like, it's not like we're trying to sell, we don't need more business. So I'm shooting you straight here, but even just brushing the scalp, like people ask me, does Adegen work? Will Adegen work for everybody? I honestly believe 100% Adegen will work for everybody. It will provide a benefit for everybody that uses it, because it's simply, it's like brushing your teeth. It's like, if you don't brush your teeth and take care of your dental hygiene the way that the teeth need to be cleaned and taken care of, you will have tooth problems. You will have teeth problems. You have cavities and all kinds of issues. The same can be said with the, Adegen is designed in a very similar way. It's not focusing on just growing hair like all these other things are focusing on, trying to promote growth. Like Adegen is focused on Adegen. The reason why Adegen is so effective is because it focuses on the hair follicle and restoring health to the hair follicle. And it actually focuses on the cause of what's causing the blood flow restriction in the first place. Now, with that being said, like alopecia areata and other autoimmune issues, they are different because they're not hormone based. But do I believe that there are benefits by even using the brush and effectively, aggressively brushing and stimulating your scalp? 100%, because what that's doing is removing dead skin and dandruff and sebum, and it's helping. It's helping the epidermis, which is basically the foundation of the hair follicle, to be healthy. And then the ingredients in the topical solution, there's some studies that show that benefits of caffeine for alopecia areata as far as stress and things like that. So I don't want to overpromise you and tell you that Adegen will help you with that particular. And I don't even know if I'm saying that properly. Lichen plano. Not even gonna try. But do I think it will? Do I think there's a chance that it will help? I do. I really do believe that there is a chance that it may help with that particular hair loss. But there also, I know people that have had alopecia areata that unfortunately I don't think it will help. But will the brushing? I would at least try the brushing, and you can try the shampoo and see if that helps. I wish, there's nothing more than I would love to do than be able to tell you, yes, it will completely 100% guarantee solve your hair loss. I would love nothing more than to be able to offer that to you and tell you that. But autoimmune is a different issue. I think it can help, but I can't. And I don't want to make any promises, especially something that I'm really not that familiar with. All right, guys. Okay, so I'm seeing some questions. Okay, I see a question here talking about launching and starting with the 15. Okay, so yes, you can definitely start with the 15. The 15 is a, people are asking me, well, why, if, with kit number 2, can I just start with 15? Yes, the 15 is amazing. You can start with the 5 or the 15. The 15 is going to be more expensive. The 5 is less expensive. It would be better for you to use more 15. If you're strictly looking at the financials or the cost of it, which they're neither, in my opinion, are, I think they're not expensive for what they are, but you can use either. You can definitely start with the 15. I recommend just to keep things as simple as possible, and everybody just comes and asks, where do I start? For a blanket statement for everybody just to start somewhere, I recommend starting with kit number 1. So hopefully that answers the question. All right, guys. Christian, my man here. I appreciate you being on live and helping support and answer questions here, guys. I hope that helps. If there's not any other questions, I'm gonna jump off here. We've been on for an hour and a half, which is without any wins here in the group. So we went on for a little while, but I did my best to answer all the questions that I could that I saw in the group most recently. And yeah, we'll be doing live trainings. So it's going to be the first Thursday of every month. I'll be jumping in live and spending as much time as you guys need to answer any questions that we have. The group is growing like crazy. I think we're over 6,000 members in the group right now. And so a big thank you to Christian and today being able to answer all the questions, guys, because I've been pretty much at max capacity. I'm doing everything I can to be in the group as much as possible. My goal is to be in the group more. It's what I actually enjoy the most. I love hanging out, connecting with you guys, and being able to be involved. But I'm working on the business stuff and trying to keep everything going and making sure we have enough products to get you guys. So I love you guys. It's a pleasure and an honor to hang out I never thought I'd be doing videos talking about hair loss, but it's an honor and it's a privilege to be here with you guys, and it's something that I take very, very seriously. And I know it's something that, you know, you guys putting your trust into me and Adegen, especially in the hair loss industry after trying so many different products, that it's something that I take very seriously, and your trust is very much respected, and I can promise you we're doing everything we possibly can to serve you guys at the highest level and to never take advantage of that. So I appreciate you guys. We've had just I'm going to go through, again, I just didn't have enough time to go through all of the wins, and that's going to be, we'll create a separate video for that to go just all through the wins, and it'll be a lot of fun because there were so many of them. I just didn't have plans to do that. So I hope you guys are having a great day. It's different also because I'm in California. It's 4 o'clock California time, which is, you know, I was doing it, you know, when I was in the East Coast, it's 7 o'clock, which is, you know, obviously the same time, but 4 p.m. in the afternoon here, it feels a little bit different. The sun's out and stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys. You guys have a great night, and yeah, please feel free to shoot us any messages, post questions in the group, and love to see everybody's success and wins, and I will chat with you guys soon. Cool. Hope you guys have a great night. Hair loss is history. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. Bye-bye.